two teams that have had quite a few big games this season, now matching up Iowa State versus Memphis in Memphis.
Yeah, and this could be another huge shootout. Both of these teams have good offenses, and if it's anything like the AAC championship game, it could go into a couple overtimes, and both teams could be approaching that 60-point number at the end.
Well, Iowa State has emerged as a giant killer. They don't have the best record this season, 7-5. They did have two big wins to add to their resume, Oklahoma and TCU, both being a one-possession game, but that doesn't matter because Iowa State still came out with the win. They have a great passing attack, averaging 270 yards per game, something that's really excelled them and allowed them to stay close with high-powered offenses like Oklahoma and TCU throughout the season.
And for Memphis, their entire mantra this year has to be points, points, and even more points. They average almost 50 points a game, and they've had two 70-point games this year, something no other team has been able to accomplish this year. And it's really just been through that air raid offense. They have almost 400 yards through the air. This Tigers offense has been completely shredding opponents' defenses. If you give them any light at all, they'll just completely dominate you. They'll go deep downfield. You can see it against UCF. You could see it when they played Navy. You could see it when they played UCLA and Josh Rosen, when they were able to outduel one of the nation's top quarterbacks in UCLA's Josh Rosen early in the season. Memphis's offense has just been an incredible unit to watch.
Where they struggle, though, is the secondary. They give up 279 yards per game. This is going to be critical in this game in particular. And when talking about Memphis, two of their losses were to UCF. UCF's been a great team this season. The second time around was much cleaner, though. But combined with those two games, they had a total of 6 turnovers, 4 in the first game, 2 in the second. They're going to want to just make sure that they clean that up and don't let Iowa State get away with any potential turnovers and game momentum changers. And their strength of schedule. UCF was the most notable team they played, whereas Iowa State has played 3 top 25 teams, gathering huge wins over those high-powered offenses, Oklahoma and TCU.
Iowa State's it's their first postseason appearance in a long time. They haven't been to a bowl game since 2012, which was the Liberty Bowl, one of the lowest bowl games out there. Iowa State also has 2 losses this year to very similar teams that have very high-powered air raid offenses and similar defensive fronts. It's going to be interesting to see if Iowa State's able to learn from those experiences and grow, especially as a defensive and offensive unit, or if they're going to regress back to their old ways and give up a lot of passing yards through the air like they have in those 2 previous games.
The key player to look out for Iowa State, though, is going to be Allen Lazard. It's going to come down to the passing game. That's where they're going to be more successful, and he leads the wide receiver core, which their top 3 are all over 475 yards, but he leads that with 800 yards, averaging 13.1 yards per reception. He's got 9 touchdowns. He's going to be a pivotal player in this game.
And if you want to talk about passing, you have to talk about Riley Ferguson. He has almost 4,000 passing yards on the season and 39 passing touchdowns. He had 6 rushing touchdowns to that, and he's clearly one of the top quarterbacks in the entire country and the biggest, most important wheel in this finely tuned offensive unit. I think it's going to be a huge statement win for the AAC. I think their athletic commissioner is going to continue to boast for that quote-unquote Power 6 conference that they've been talking about in recent history. I think Memphis is going to come out with a huge statement win.
Especially if UCF and Memphis can both get wins here, that will be huge for the conference and in supporting that decision.
Especially when it comes to recruiting in that area, in the South specifically.
It will. I want to go with Memphis, but they definitely have the better record. It could be a potential shootout here. I'm going to go with Iowa State, though, because I think the passing game is where they're going to excel. If you like this week's episode, feel free to check out some of our others. Thanks for watching RedZone to EndZone.